get Randy up, slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Yeah?
So in the latest chapter of One Piece War, chapter 894, Ichiro Oda has graced the One Piece fandom with something juicy to bite down on. Yeah.
That lovely?
Something that you would probably need your jaw to unhinge and enjoy, because Monkey D. Luffy is bringing out Snake Man against my main man, Charlotte Katakuri.
Yeah!
This has a lot of folks hyped for obvious reasons. Snake Man was something that very few folks saw coming. I can't say no one saw it coming. I'm pretty sure someone did out there. Listen, Charlotte Katakuri has been dominating Monkey D. Luffy for a while now. Even when Charlotte Katakuri stabbed himself in the abdomen to make things fair, things were not fair. It was still the slam jam. It was still the beatdown. It was still, my real name isn't Charlotte Katakuri. My real name is Charlotte Charles Barkley Katakuri. You can't tangle with me, Luffy, even though I stabbed myself to make things even. Disgusting fighter. However, it looks like Monkey D. Luffy's making a comeback through Snake Man. So the question here, because we're going to see hopefully next chapter. So the question here is, what is Snake Man? All we can do is theorize at this point in time. But I would say there are some good indications that are in the story, so we can kind of have a very accurate guess as to what is going to go down in the next chapter of One Piece. So, first and foremost, let us talk about the moment itself, because there is something that I do want to point out here. What I noticed, it was Luffy not taking a massive breath like he normally would for Gear 4th Bound Man. Because when he does Gear 4th Bound Man, it's a massive breath. However, in this case, it seemed to be much less air, just a little, and we see the hockey form under his eyes. So from that standpoint, Snake Man could just be a pseudo version of Bound Man with less air ultimately. And it's called Snake Man because it's a much thinner version of Bound Man. Now, I think it's more to it than that, obviously, but again, keep in mind here that normally Luffy takes this giant breath and breathes a lot of air into his muscles to create Bound Man. Some folks did say that Luffy was sucking in, but what exactly can Luffy suck in? When I first thought about it, I thought, okay, maybe, but then I realized, hold on, you can't suck out air like that from his own body. That's not how that works. Even in One Piece, that'll be really weird. If it's sucking air, anything, it has to be bodily fluids and blood.
What?
But that's not gonna, no, No. I highly doubt that. So he's probably putting in air into his muscles like usual, but little air compared to what he normally does. Now, moving on from the chapter itself, the next thing we have to ask ourselves here, is this form situational, or is this form something that Luffy can hop into at will? And what I mean here is this. In Tank Man mode, we've seen the Tank Man mode full version. But essentially, all it really is Luffy has to be big and fat in order to be in Tank Man. The reason why, as far as I know, it was called full version was because he had eaten so many biscuits when he was fighting against Cracker that he couldn't eat any more. He was legitimately full for the first time in like eternity. So that's why, as far as I understand, it was called Tank Man full version. But the regular Tank Man would just be Luffy eating a lot of food, being big and fat, and then going into Gear 4 like he normally would, and then using the fat as a means of, let's say, defense. Now, when it comes to Snake Man, consider Luffy's condition. Luffy has been getting the extreme beatdown from Charlotte Charles Barkley Katakuri. Luffy continuously is huffing and wheezing. He has part of his abdomen missing. So is Snake Man something that Luffy can only use in this situation of being completely exhausted, being heavily wounded?
Maybe.
It may be. If Tank Man is a situational form where Luffy has to be fat in order to utilize Tank Man, whether it's full version or regular Tank Man, then Snake Man may be the similar case where he has to be extremely exhausted and or be massively damaged in order to utilize Snake Man. Why is the case? I don't know. But you have to wonder, if this form is not a situational form, why didn't Luffy already use Snake Man against Katakuri to begin with? Or like the second time round they fought. But then B is it ties specifically to his growth of color of observation haki, where his color of observation haki wasn't at a point where he could utilize Snake Man. Let's say Snake Man was a theory that Luffy was working on when he was training with Ray Lee, and he couldn't properly utilize Snake Man until this point in time because his Kamboshino haki is much more powerful now. Because those are the only two things that have changed with Luffy now compared to previously in the fight. At the beginning of the fight, his Kamboshino haki was not on the same level as it is now. Clearly because he's been spending hours getting the Slam Jam while focusing on his Kamboshino haki, but still using armor haki all the while. And then number two, he has suffered massive damage over the course of this fight. Those are the only two conditions that have changed with Luffy from the beginning of the fight to now, which means that if Snake Man is a form that is conditional, it has to be because of one of those two conditions, or both of those conditions. It has to be. Otherwise, you have to wonder, Luffy, why didn't you use Snake Man when Katakuri's Slam Jam was in full effect? Why would you wait until this point in time? You have to wonder. Now, when it comes to the actual Snake Man form itself, what are we looking at when it comes to what's going to increase and what abilities are going to come from that? Now, the first thing I've seen via theories and via tweets and talking to friends and such is some type of actual snake, like venom form. Listen, no, like I don't see Luffy producing venom or anything of that sort, so I'm not buying that. I'm sorry, no, that's insanity. However, what I can see happening is Luffy attaining some type of restrictor-like snake ability, to where if Luffy's body or hand can move in such a way to where he can coil around Katakuri and try and restrict Katakuri's movements via coiling around like a snake would. Because Luffy has showcased snake-like abilities in both the snake shot against Horty Jones in Fishman Island, as well as the Python against Don Flamingo, to where the Culverin continued to hunt down Doffy for a period of time.
Look at Randy slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch
Those are the only two snake moves that Luffy has shown in the entirety of One Piece, at least as far as I know. So let's say the Culverin Gear 4th version of Snake Man could be, let's say, a combination of what we see with the normal Culverin Python plus the snake shot, to where it's far more fluid and he can wrap his hand around Katakuri and try and hold down Katakuri like that. Hence Snake Man. That I think would be very impressive. But the issue at hand is Katakuri, his paramecia acts like a Logia. So with the flowing Mochi awakening, he can become Mochi and kind of like just skate across the ground. It really shouldn't work considering his abilities, because on top of that, Katakuri got punched in half by Ichiji but was not affected at all. He got punched in half by Ichiji and was not affected at all. But again, would it stop Katakuri? On paper, it really shouldn't. Next is the speed form. It could very well be a speed form, because I know a lot of folks see Bound Man as the attack form, Tank Man is the defensive form, so you have a speed form and let that be Snake Man. But there are two things I have to say to that. Number one, it was already established clearly that Gear 4th Bound Man was several times faster than Gear 2. Because Gear 2, he's tagging Flamingo, but Flamingo can still dodge his attacks quite easily. In Gear 4th, Luffy can practically speed blitz Flamingo. It's nuts. His speed dramatically increases when you look at Gear 2 and Gear 4. Gear 4 Bound Man. To have another speed up doesn't really seem right. And then on top of that, how does that help Luffy in this fight against someone that can see the future? Now, I know a lot of folks say, well, Luffy's gonna be so fast to where even though Katakuri can see the future, he's not gonna be able to react to it on time. That makes no sense. That literally makes no... Unless Luffy in Snake Man form is going to be omnipresent or nigh omnipresent, that makes no sense whatsoever. When it comes to his Kamboshan Haki, because Katakuri can see the legitimate oncoming future, he has literally seconds upon seconds to react to something, because he already knows what's coming ahead of time. Because mind you, Katakuri's not seeing the legitimate oncoming future for, let's say, a split second or a millisecond. No, he's seeing it for seconds, plural. Which is why when I did a video previously about Katakuri and Kizaru and how Kizaru's speed for the most part is null and void against someone like Katakuri, it's because even if you move at the speed of light, Katakuri's reaction time window, because of his future sight, is huge. It is massive. It's not a matter of reaction time compared to a regular person, where a regular person has to react to the oncoming attack when it comes. Katakuri knows what's going to happen, so his reaction time window is massive compared to a regular person's reaction time window. That's just the facts. It doesn't really make sense to fight against Katakuri with a speed-based form. It could be the case, fair enough, and if it is, I'm wrong. Fine, I'm wrong. But unless Oda does it to where Katakuri is losing a hold of his Kamboshan Haki at that point in time, like big time, which so far hasn't happened, but at some point it probably will happen in this fight. I don't doubt it. Unless Oda does that in the next chapter for Luffy's sake and Snake Man, Katakuri should be getting tagged very, very few times, even with the speed increase. So that is the speed form. Again, it could happen, but I think it's highly unlikely. And then we have the form that I want to see, which makes the most sense to me, which is the dexterity Kamboshan Haki based form, which actually coincides with the snake coiling thing, like strongly. Because what I think is going to happen is a dexterity oriented form that is centered around Kamboshan Haki that incorporates strongly the CP9 Kamiye. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you look at Gear 2nd, one of the major foundations of Gear 2nd is Soru, the Rokishi ability to kick the ground several times in an instant and disappear at fast speeds. Gear 4th, because Luffy is always bouncing, he can't really do Soru, but he uses a version of Genpo, like Sanji Skywalk. He uses a version of Genpo to move at very fast speeds. Well, in this case, incorporate another CP9 based ability, especially when the theme here is a snake, Kamiye. And so Luffy's gonna have dexterity and elasticity up the wazoo, to where his body's gonna be able to move in very awkward ways, even more so than usual, to avoid Katakuri's attacks. And then on top of that, with attacks like the snake shot and the python, as Katakuri attacks, he can use these openings during Katakuri's attack and attack him with very malleable, shifty-like attacks. That's what I think is gonna happen, because it's a combination of the coiling ability of the snake, but not just simply constricting Katakuri like a snake would, but actually attacking in a very weird fashion like the snake shot, but the snake shot covered in armored haki like the culverin python. So it would be the same wiggling snake shot, but it would bounce around the air like the culverin python would. At the same time, Luffy himself could dodge the attacks of Katakuri simultaneously because his body is acting like the Rokishi Kamiye. That's what I see happening. That's what makes sense to me. The only problem I have is the finishing blow, because Katakuri's durability is fairly high. His endurance is nowhere near Luffy's right now because Luffy's endurance is stupidly high. But his durability is still fairly high. So you will need a very solid finishing blow to finish Katakuri. And the only thing I can think of is an enhanced version of the rifle. Because the rifle is the only move I can think of where it is very flexible. It coils up like a snake and it increases tensile strength like in Gear 4th would when you increase the rotation of the fist itself. Definitely. So I can see an enhanced version of the rifle being the finishing move or the finishing moves that Luffy would need to defeat Katakuri. Though in all honesty, let's keep it real here. What makes the most sense, just flat out, is have Katakuri win. That's what makes the most sense, just flat out. Have Katakuri win. Y'all know how I feel about my man Katakuri. It is what it is. So, those are my thoughts on Luffy Snake Man. Let me know what you guys think in the box below, and I'll do a follow-up video. You know what? I will do a follow-up video on Snake Man, maybe even a stream pertaining to your comments on Snake Man, and maybe get some of you guys and gals in the stream, particularly the tier 3 cats on Twitch, but we'll see how that goes in the next few days. So this has been the Kingu of Lightning. Be sure to rate the video. It is not that hard to do, especially when I know that you all have a device called Zmouse Sue. You use Zmouse Sue to click, rate the video, to click, subscribe, to click on that bell to join the squad, and of course, comment. Please do comment in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts on Snake Man. Peace, and have a nice goddamn day. What is Snake Man?